Now this is phase 2 of that repair work.
I'm good with it.
You okay? Let's go to work. Henry? Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Would you take a second and please turn off telephones or electronic equipment? We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Johanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Becker,
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo,
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg.
I am here.
We have before us the minutes of our regular and workshop meeting from June 16th. Are there any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion we approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
Johanna?
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo,
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
We will now open for public comment. You have 3 minutes. You can speak on any subject at all. Is there any public comment?
Joe Tosi, 7 South Granville. I have a safety concern. Next door to me, the old Barrels Restaurant, where they're doing work, about 7 weeks ago, an electric company came in, tore out the sidewalk, put a new telephone pole in. In doing so, they had to cut part of my tree down, which I don't have a problem with that, and they threw that all on the sidewalk against the fenced-in part of it, okay? Now, most of that is on my property. I don't have a problem with that, but you can't walk down the sidewalk. I called Public Works about 7 weeks ago. Franz came down, took a couple branches away, but all that concrete's still there. You have to walk into the street almost to go down to the beach. Now, 2 weeks ago today, on Gladstone Avenue, they dropped off trestles for the top of the house. Now, they haven't built in 7 weeks. The trestles take up the whole sidewalk, about 50 feet of the sidewalk, then cars park in front of that, and literally everybody has to walk down Gladstone Avenue in the street. I don't care myself, but it's a safety issue. People go, it's very busy, people going to the beach, down at the lake. So I just want to know, who's, can you take care of it? Who's going to take care of this? You know?
Joe.
Now, out there, the trees and the concrete's on my property, but I don't have a problem. It's a little bit of my property. I have no problem with that, because you can't walk.
Understood. I do recognize what you're saying because I drive down Gladstone often. Jimmy was here earlier, our code official. We should have mentioned it to him.
I didn't want to get up at that meeting.
No, but between meetings, you can talk to him personally. I'll make sure he addresses it first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Because it's saying, because the people, you know, it's very busy. It's summertime. They go down, and it's very popular down there because the senior citizen building, and that's a lot of popular. People park their cars. A lot of family people go down there. That's what I'm trying to say. Is, you know, some get that stuff moved away. You know. All right, thanks.
I'll have him there in the morning.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Nanette Cooperman, 26 North Adams Avenue. We're also here about a safety issue, but more related to enforcement of parking violations. We really need your help with the truck traffic on our street. We've now become a thoroughfare for delivery trucks. Part of it has to do with the fact that they're delivering at Tomatoes and Sophia's, and that street behind that restaurant is one way. So all the trucks turn down Adams, and then they barrel down our street. There is no truck sign up on our street, and it's not being enforced. We also need some help with the parking violations as well. Streets are cleaned on Tuesday. They're not supposed to park between 10 and 12 on one side, and I think it's 1 and 3 on the other side. I'm finding mostly it's the employees from down the street. They park on our street whenever they want. If you ask them please not to so the streets can be cleaned, they tell us they don't really care. If they get it, Donnie will take care of it for them. So we need your help. Somehow we need to enforce it. We're very concerned about somebody getting hurt by the trucks. They come down very fast, and we try talking to them, and they say, well, we don't really care that there's a no truck sign. We don't care that we're going above the speed limit. We're doing this. We're in a hurry. We're not going around the block. So unless somebody enforces it, then I think they're going to continue to violate the sign violations, and I really think so. I don't know how best to do it. I did go to the police station a couple weeks ago, Tuesday. I spoke to a sergeant. He told me that the police force is very short-handed and that they did not have the summer help that they normally had, because I brought up the fact they used to ride around in golf carts and give parking tickets. He told me they were very short-handed and they really didn't have the time to enforce traffic violations, and that I should go to the township building. And when I went to the township building, they told me that I should come here. And I should say that there are other people from my neighborhood at this meeting as well.
Mayor.
Hold
Hold on, Doctor.
Hold on.
I do want to address a couple of your issues, because we did speak on the phone, and I do believe our chief is here, and I'm not sure that we're understaffed in our police department, but I would like the chief to address some of the issues, because we've had the discussion, and
I have no way of knowing that except for what the sergeant told me.
Right, and I understand that, and I'm not questioning what you're saying. I'm just a little upset with him telling you that we're short of help. But with that said, Chief, could you help me?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I responded to somebody from your neighborhood via an email yesterday that made the same inquiries that you did, and I'll go down the list as I explained to them. That truck sign, no truck sign, was put up as a courtesy to the neighborhood. There is no way to enforce the trucks through that. That is part of the truck route. It's not enforceable. It was done as a courtesy. And I went as further to say that anytime there's an issue with a truck, somebody needs to call the police department so we can respond and talk to the driver if there is an issue.
Can I, excuse me, first of all, no trucks is no trucks. I mean, you don't have to be...
But you don't understand, it's not backed up by ordinance. It was done. So if that's the case, we will just have to take the sign down until if the commission does...
That's not really helping our issue. And here's the fact that the trucks start at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I understand that.
Our houses shake. They barrel down our street above the speed limit. Is there also no speed limit on our street?
There is a speed limit.
Okay, but that's not enforced either. The parking's not enforced either.
And as I explained in the email yesterday to Mr. Melchior, that we are going to start aggressive enforcement regarding the street sweeper. The last 2 weeks, the street sweeper did not go out to sweep. We know that. The first morning on the 28th of June, the guys wrote several summonses for a street sweeper that we in fact took back because the street sweeper did not go out. It didn't go out on the 5th because it was either a manpower issue from Public Works and it rained. Yesterday afternoon, or Tuesday afternoon, the unit block of North Adams was blocked due to the gas company traffic. So they couldn't sweep anyway. So it's been the policy since I've been here for 33 years. If the street sweeper doesn't go out, we're not going to write summonses. It's not fair.
So can we go back to the no trucks? I've never heard of a sign being put up, a street sign, and of course, I'm not in the streets, but I have sat on zoning boards up in Camden County. I've never heard of a sign being put up as a courtesy.
It was done.
A sign is a sign. If it says no trucks,
It was
and
done.
a truck
Then,
sees
if
it.
that's the way you feel, unfortunately, we will have to remove it until the commission makes a decision to ban trucks from that street. It was done as a courtesy. We
But
tried to
nobody
move the
told
truck.
us that.
I explained that, yeah. It was explained to somebody else from your neighborhood last year, the same exact issue. That sign is a courtesy, to try to get the truck drivers to voluntarily go to another street.
So we have a one-way sign up at the end of our street.
That's by
and
ordinance.
everybody comes down the street the wrong way. So does that mean that that's a courtesy and we don't enforce
You're
that
mixing
either?
apples and oranges. That's done by ordinance. That's enforceable. The truck sign is
So
not.
again, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful to you, but what are we going to do? We're going to wait until a house falls down, a child gets hit by a truck?
Ma'am, I understand.
mean,
Listen,
Mr.
I live,
Amadeo
ma'am,
told me
excuse me
that-
for one second. I live in the same neighborhood. I put up with the same things. I am a full-time resident. I live around the corner from you people. I know what it's like. Unfortunately, that's the thing. I have my guys, I explained yesterday, we will start aggressive enforcement out there, and we'll see where it goes.
Well,
And that's, I
mean,
can't, other than shutting your street down and making it a private street, which is never going to happen, I will do the best I can do.
mean-
But please rest assured, you're on me about this sign. The sign was a courtesy.
Okay,
That's
well-
all it was.
Well, then, two things. First of all, I do appreciate if they're going to enforce things on our street. I do, and it doesn't go unappreciated. It really doesn't. And I do know that, listen, summertime for the policemen is a very difficult time, okay? But Mr. Amadeo, when I spoke to him on the phone, he did tell me that there's certain streets that are truck routes. Like you mentioned Coolidge as being a truck route. So if we have streets that are designated as truck routes, why aren't we using them as truck routes?
They are being utilized, but you can't stop a delivery vehicle from getting to a place of business. It's impossible to do.
Well, can we make that street behind the restaurants one way the other way so that they can go to Washington, which is a wider street?
Winchester?
No. It's the street right behind Tomatoes and Sophia's. It's a small street.
Massey? Massey.
That's part of the problem, because the trucks go down there and deliver their food, and then they have no choice
I'll
but to
tell
go
you,
down
what
that.
we will do is I will instruct my traffic people effective to Monday morning, because tomorrow's too late. We will do an analysis, and I will have somebody that's doing an analysis of what's going on and report back to you if you want to leave me your name and number with the findings about the number of trucks and what else. Not that I don't believe you, but I need hard data to be able to justify to change a street, to start moving streets around from one way to the other. So if I have the hard data and data proves what you're saying, we will go with it.
That's why, we have pictures, and I will say most of them they're either food delivery, beverage delivery, or there's also a linen supply truck that goes down our street.
Absolutely, I know.
Yeah.
They come down Washington, they go up Massey and they deliver to Tomatoes, Maynard's, and Sophia's, and they come up Adams and they deliver to the rest of the businesses on Ventnor Avenue. I know what route they're using.
And I know you do, and I know where you live, and I'm sure that you hear it as well. But you are set back
absolutely.
from the street a lot more than we are. We're right on that street.
But I still put up with it too, so I know what you're dealing with, and there's only certain things we can do.
Well, whatever you can do, we
And
appreciate it.
as I
because
explained to
up until this
who, I don't know if the
time, not
gentleman
much
who
is
I had the
done.
email with yesterday is here.
I don't know who that was.
And
Was it
John,
That's
I went
my
back and
next door
explained
neighbor.
everything I just explained to you, I explained to him in an email. And I wasn't being sarcastic, this is the reality of it.
So can I ask you one other question?
Sure.
How do we make that no trucks an ordinance?
We would have to do an analysis first. I can't go to the mission and just make it no trucks, we need to see the number of trucks that are traversing.
I can answer that for you. Typically, when we have situations like this, we hire a consulting engineering firm. We do a traffic study. First we have to identify a problem. It sounds like we have a problem. We then have to agree to hire a consulting engineer. We then have to do a traffic study. We have to analyze the impact not only on your street but on other surrounding streets. It's not something that the three of us can just sit here and do.
I understand.
If the police chief recommends it, we can then take it up as something that needs to be studied, that money needs to be allocated, and, try and address it that way for you.
So if the police chief collects his data, is that then starting the process, or do we have to actually write a formal letter?
No, you've made the notification, something.
You do not have to write a formal letter.
We will begin to take action. Something you need to keep in mind, I want to dovetail on what Commissioner Blumberg said. We could say, yeah, there's a problem, and when we send it to the state could say to us, it's too much of what they call a circuitous route for the trucks, and they could say, you're not doing it. So it's basically the commission that can agree to it, but state has final approval on those kind of routes, which we've had turned down several times before. So I don't want to give you false hope.
Okay. I'm not looking
But
for
you
false hope.
have
I'm
my
just looking for
word. We will
enforcement.
do everything, I will do everything in my power to try to mitigate this issue with you.
I appreciate that. And, you have to know that there have been a multitude of problems generated by the addition of one more restaurant on our corner. The traffic is the major problem, the traffic and the parking violations. There's other ones. Maybe that's all over our street now. It's a
But
problem.
Quite frankly, this traffic issue is not limited to just Adams Avenue, it's the entire city. So we're
But you
dealing
have to admit that we're on that route from Tomatoes and Sophia.
Absolutely, you're on that so-called
Dr.
truck route.
Cooperman, I think you should be satisfied. We're at step one of this process, and you couldn't have asked for more than that, and we'll look at it.
Okay.
Number two, your 3 minutes were up a long time ago.
Well, you told me to stay up here. I went to go sit down.
You did.
I went to take my seat.
But Doctor,
I just wanted to see you smile.
Dr. Cooperman, one more thing, to address, because
Wait, is this on my old 3 minutes or a new 3 minutes?
no, we're just, listen, again, we are all concerned about the quality of life in our neighborhoods, and there is an impact to our residents that live near our business community. And again, our city thrives and is alive, and it's a lot different in the summer than it is the other 8 or 9 months of the year. And I know you're a professor and you work, you're at St. Joe's all through the winter, and you don't get to enjoy it when it calms down a little bit.
We're here in the
But
winter.
the point I'm trying to get at is, we're at the height of our season. This is what we work for every year, is to get to where we're at right now. And it is an impact to your neighborhood. And I want, as far as the cleanliness there, we have one obstacle that we've been faced with since Sandy, and it's the transition of changing all the gas services throughout the city. And once we get repaved and our street sweepers are in normal routine and we're able to clean our streets on a normal basis, it's going to be different. We just have to live till October, and the city's going to change, because everywhere they're at now, like they were in phases 1 through 7, which was Argyle to Jerome Avenue, is all going to be repaved. And we had nothing but complaints from that north end of town for 6 months, and then after it got repaved, everybody was happy. And we want to get to that point, and that's supposed to happen this October. So that's going to change the complexion on your street, number one, with the trucks as they move. I live on Amherst Avenue, and they do 40 mile an hour at times. We all feel it. It will get better. I really believe that. I can't promise. And again, the chiefs will be on top of it. I have a lot of faith in our police department. And, you know, when the one good thing I can say, our chief tries to take care, and our police officers, of our residents. And a lot of the cars that are parked there, even during the, you know, the time that they shouldn't be there for street sweeping, are a lot of times our residents. He doesn't like to ticket our residents unless it really has to happen.
Residents have to follow the rules, too.
True, but again, you heard his commitment that he's going to do a study, and...
Can you just clarify one thing you said? We're in a phase to be repaved in October?
Yes,
Our street? Okay.
yes.
At the end of the gas company project, almost all our streets will be repaved.
Very good, Mayor.
Would you state your name and address for the record?
I'm Dr. Harry Cooperman. I am Nanette's husband from 26 North Adams Avenue. So, the great American legend, one of the many things he said when he was alive was, "This is deja vu over again." And that was Yogi Berra. So I can say that because I happen to share the same birthday, May 12th, with Yogi Berra. So I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I had the same conversation with the chief of police last summer, except the only difference was it was over the phone. And it was the same result. Nothing. And the only reason we have the signs is because I tracked down the mayor in the hardware store a couple of summers ago, and a couple of times, and finally the mayor was kind enough to talk to the chief of police or whoever else he had to talk to and get us some signs. And from what I understand, Mr. Parkin somehow got us bigger signs, additional and bigger signs. The only thing I can say is, and I just heard that whole conversation you had with my wife, it ain't good enough. It ain't good enough. You're going to have to step up your game. I'm sure you know who the culprits are. We can get you pictures. You can call the people. You can get on the phone and call them and say, "Hey, do me a favor here. I'm having problems with our residents. Your trucks are coming down the street at excessive speeds. It's not neighborly. These are the people that frequent the restaurants that you have the business to go to and deliver your food and your waste, take away your waste and everything else that goes on there. This is not good enough to tell me that you got to get the state in here. You already wasted $300,000 fighting the dunes. So, you know, that's not cutting it. Okay? So the trouble is we have taxation without representation. And it is what it is. Now, you say we're not here in the winter. I spent, I think it was 6 winters down here. I was working at the time for Shore Memorial in radiology. I was also working for Atlantic Medical Imaging, so I was here the whole time when it's so deserted that I hated being here. But it's the same situation, although less frequently because there's not as many people eating at the restaurants. I got 30 seconds. So, Chief, it ain't cutting it. It ain't cutting it. So I think you better up your game, and in a more timely fashion. We're baby boomers. We understand this crap. We understand civil disobedience. We understand calling people out when they should be called out. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Doctor. Any other comment?
Believe me, I'll be short. This on this issue. My name is Rob Parkin. I live at 101 North Adams. You've made it perfectly clear about the signs. They're a courtesy. We can't argue that point. You're in charge. That's your decision. You've also made it perfectly clear you're not going to be enforcing it. Same comment. I guess there's really nothing we can do about that. You heard everything that Harry Cooperman just said. So my question to you, you've already discussed with us about an ordinance and how that would go down. My question to you, I guess to the chief, you mentioned, and maybe I missed it, something about doing an analysis. So we have a complete understanding when we leave here tonight. Can you explain exactly what that analysis is? For instance, how many days will you have somebody sitting there counting the trucks, watching the traffic flow? Because the way I see it,
So if you speak into the microphone, please.
the way I see it, unless somebody back here wants to add, there's really nothing else to discuss. You've made your positions very clear. Some of us have made their positions very clear. So I want to leave here also very clear to know how do you attack this problem, and then let us then have a say. Is that satisfactory to us? Are you going to have a guy sitting there one day? You're going to have him there for a week, a month? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You may. Chief is going to respond, sir.
How we conduct
All
our
right, hold up a
analysis
minute, please.
is a two-pronged approach. We actually use mechanical devices, electronic devices, 24-hour period, probably for 7 to 10 days. That gives us a good handle on all vehicles, not just trucks. And I will discuss with my traffic people how, in fact, we want to address the truck issue. What kind of, what days are the best, what delivery, and I can find out from companies when the delivery times are. But like I said, it's a two-pronged approach. Not only do we do truck, we will be doing trucks, we will be doing vehicles, 24 hours a day for 7 to 10 days. And it will give us definitive information, the number of vehicles, the times of the vehicles, and the speeds of the vehicles.
A way of differentiating between just regular cars and the trucks that we're really here.
Not with the electronically, but the speeds will be a good measure. That the truck issue will be addressed through human intelligence, for lack of a better term. So we'll have somebody out there, probably for the same time period.
That's what I'm getting at. Could you explain?
It's not going to be, believe me, it won't be 1 day or 2 days. It'll be, we get better data over a 7 to 10 day period. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Art, you're up.
Mark Cortelli, 114 North Lancaster Avenue. I have need to go across the bridge in Margate quite often, and I know most of the people in here go across the bridge. And in doing that, you go up and down Jerome Avenue, and people run across Jerome Avenue from one side to the other. I mean, jaywalking, it doesn't enter, I guess it should be jay running, but they run from left to right, right to left. They go to the marina. They run with their dogs. They take their dogs to go potty over at the marina, and then they run back. I mean, it's just a nightmare, day and night. And I start wondering, why don't they use a crosswalk? And I walked there a number of times, and I said, there is no crosswalk. There's no crosswalk from the time you pass that bridge for 4 blocks down to Fulton. And the only thing you can do is ask the person, could you go walk 4 blocks down to Fulton, or even 2 blocks down to Fulton, cross, and then walk 2 blocks back? I don't think you can really ask them that. So somewhere between there are 2 streets. You can put a crosswalk somewhere just to make it legitimate for them to cross. Or else these people are all illegally running across the street, a big hazard. One time in particular, I was coming down and it was dark. It was at night. And there was a guy with his dog walking. he blatantly walked out in front of me from the center. He had already gotten halfway across the street. He walked right across. I almost hit him and his dog in the dark. I mean, this was really so it's very unsafe, and there's a lot of people infringing on the law just because they can't do anything else. You can't walk down 4 blocks. There should be a crosswalk somewhere between there. There are a couple of cross streets. You could easily put a crosswalk. It'll be very inexpensive. You just have to paint it. It would make a lot of sense. And then you can enforce it and say, you know what? You could have crossed here and you didn't. Now you'd have to say, well, geez, you could have gone back there 3 blocks and crossed at the corner. You can't enforce that. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you, Art. This is
That's a county road. You can't do
You're waiting for your 3 minutes?
Yes, that says 3 minutes. Okay. Hi, my name is Victoria Alvarez. I live at 8305 Ventnor Avenue. My family has owned it since 1967. I personally have owned it since 1990. I live across the street from a synagogue, and on the synagogue, they have posted a bright red and green flashing neon sign that is running 24/7. It turns colors. It's kind of like living in your own disco right now. I don't need a nightlight in my bathroom because it is on, shining through my house. So I just wanted to make that known that this is a sign that is out of character for the community. It is out of character for this part of the island. I've never seen a sign like this at a place of worship, and I've also never seen a sign like this at any place else other than the hardware store that is in a commercial district. So I just wanted to kind of make that known that if it is possible, I would like this sign to fall into this latest ordinance that is coming up to be heard tonight, I think.
Do you want to respond?
Yeah, I do have a question. Our solicitor's here. Doesn't our ordinance state that we can't have a flashing sign?
I think it does, and, we're going to adopt this ordinance. If we have to amend it to address
The existing
things.
ordinance is done.
No, the existing ordinance, I think.
The existing ordinance.
The sign, I've sent pictures, I've talked to the mayor, and I've talked to other people in the office, I believe. And the sign itself, I've taken pictures and video from inside my house, and you can see it, bright red and green, flashing through the inside of my house in the downstairs and in the upstairs. It is facing my house, perpendicular to Ventnor. So it's bright.
I think I have something I can add to that, John.
Please.
I've been aware of a complaint for a couple of weeks on this, and somebody went down, either Roger or Jim went down and checked on this sign. They have applied for a permit or a zoning variance for that sign, and I don't know if they're going to get it or not, but they were not supposed, as I understood it, they were not supposed to have this sign flashing at all until and unless they got this permit, which they had to get I think they have to get a variance for. So that's generally what I know about it.
Mrs.
So I
Alvarez just
think
said
the
it's
answer is...
still flashing?
It is still flashing. It flashes the date, it flashes the time, and it flashes services, candlelight, treats, times for treats, and special events. It's flashing today's date, it's flashing the time. The time comes up in bright green. It almost seems like it's synced with the traffic light to a degree, which I think could throw off drivers because that traffic light has that green arrow that's turning all of the time. So it flashes up green at the same time the green light comes up, but then it turns red, the arrow's still on, it's still green, and then it goes back to red and it scrolls. So it flashes bright, and you can see the bright green through my bathroom, through the master bedroom, through the downstairs. But then it flashes back to red, and it scrolls across. And the font on it is huge. It's like, it's not thin like this clock. It's wide. I mean, and it's bright. So still running, started running, I think, sometime before Memorial Day, and it's turned off for July 4th weekend for some reason. We don't know why, but it is back on. That's all I have.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We are going to call the synagogue tomorrow and try to get the flashing portion of it turned off. If they don't, we're going to talk to construction official about giving a summons
Okay.
until such time as they either get or don't get the variance.
And then possibly turn it off at a certain time of night, so it's not continuing.
Well, that may come under, there's a new ordinance on the agenda tonight, so
10 o'clock, I think.
I think
That's what I'm hoping for, so thank you guys so much for listening, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Following up on Arthur's comments, I wish this commission would back up Mayor Russo in his efforts to appeal to Trenton to repeal the yield to pedestrian regulations, state statute. This is inordinately dangerous for pedestrians and drivers alike. It's a fatality waiting to happen, because particularly on 4-lane streets, if you have a large SUV, Cadillac Escalade, Lincoln Navigator, and some woman is pushing that stroller in front of that SUV, the person in the other lane can't see anybody or anything. And one of these days, you're going to have 3, 4 people whacked at one time. This is not a practical state statute, because it makes people careless in the crossing of the street. Many of them cross against the red light, thinking that they have the right of way, and this is just absolute insanity. It only gets worse each year. It is an accident waiting to happen, and I think that we should get behind Russo and lobby Trenton. I'm sure our former assemblyman remembers the number, 292-6000. So let's get on the stick. Let's lobby that supersized rhino, especially since he's got all your prevailing wage jobs frozen, with change orders that are going to cost the taxpayers a fortune. And on another issue, Mayor, we should also be trying our best to support the governor's cease and desist on the Abbott unfair distribution of state funding to schools. It'll mean $1.5 million. And I realize that when you're squandering $300,000 at a clip, Mayor, that may not seem like a lot of money to you, but the taxpayers, it would make a substantial difference. So, Mayor, when you're not squandering money, taxpayer dollars, why don't we get a resolution backing the governor's request? Because Hoboken doesn't need Abbott funding. Newark doesn't need Abbott funding. And this is just a joke. And we're pouring millions of dollars, and the grades keep going in the toilet. It's not money. It's not money that's the problem, Mayor. It's not the money at all. It's the lack of will to see performance and excellence. Thank you.
John, I'm going to do something I don't normally do or like to do, but I'm going to keep you here because you got to leave, okay? No, first of all, on the repealing the pedestrian law, I have spoken to Mayor Russo before he wrote the letter. I've spoken to him after it, and I certainly support that, because that law did nothing but empower people to get hurt, and I agree with you. And I knew if we had this relationship that is so warm and tender, I would eventually agree with you. Okay? Now, number two, as far as the governor's proposed legislation, it's not 1.5 million, it's 2.3. I've already signed up to support that, so we're in agreement there. So, yeah, what can I tell you, John? Can we? Are you going to drive?
Provided the solicitor doesn't have travel time at $165 an hour.
He does. That's a great idea. No, solicitor, tell him how you get from A to B. I drive you. Yes, Mr. Rapporteur, I drive.
Any other public comment? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
John?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeus?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
We will now open public comment on the resolutions.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Stay awake, solicitor. I'm going to compliment you and support Resolution 126-2016 and compliment the solicitor in not gouging and hosing the taxpayers like that other solicitor who's charging us $165 an hour to tool around. And he's charging more in travel time than the actual meeting cost. Over $400 each cockamamie meeting. But the mayor doesn't care. It's not his money. It's somebody else's money, the taxpayers' money. But that's got to stop, and it's got to stop pronto. We've got to get a local, hire a local. We have some tremendous lawyers locally. Barbara Lieberman is indisposed at the moment. I believe Casino Jack Abramoff is out of the FPC, and he has a great K Street. Now you can start the 3 minutes, Mayor. That clock wasn't running, so I've got it.
I'm giving you a break today. We're making up. You can also comment on the, I think there's one ordinance, so I missed it. If you want to comment on that, John, we'll give you an opportunity.
Well, we want to know why we're spending an additional $20,000 in architectural services for that municipal building. What in God's holy earth do we need another 20 grand going into the toilet? Mayor?
John?
It's absurd. It's absurd.
Thank you for your comment.
Hey, we got one more, Mayor, before I go.
Please do.
Resolution 128-2016. These underground tanks, Freddie Fiddlestick, if I recall, there's an enormous amount of state money, grants, to pull these cockamamie tanks out.
It's done. It's done. The program's done. It's been done for 3 years.
Oh, we'll resurrect it. We'll resurrect it.
What did you call the governor? And we'll call him and tell him what you said.
We
described him.
We call him our Goomba Paisan Rotund Rhino.
Hey, I get a raise, according to Mr. Sewell.
Yes.
He's requesting a raise now. Based on this recommendation, how could I not?
He'll go the same way the school solicitor is going to go if he tries that stunt.
Your 3 minutes done yet?
I was going to have those two doctors look at your foot while we were here. That just goes to show you, too kind. Dr. Sunday Owl, he'll give you an instant diagnosis.
I'll remember.
John,
Thank you.
have a nice night.
I'll do my best despite the odds.
Is there any other public comment? Motion to close public comment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Johanna?
May I have a motion for ordinance number 14, amending Chapter 196, nuisance, creating Article 3, outdoor lighting code of the City of Margate City, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 119, authorizing payment and claim, Colmar Center?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mayor
I
Becker?
abstain.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 120, authorizing bill payment and claims?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Motion for Resolution 120, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Motion for Resolution 122, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
A motion for Resolution 123, 2016.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
A motion for Resolution 124, 2016.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 125, 2016. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 126, 2016. May I have a motion?
With pleasure, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Yeah,
Mayor
2
Becker?
seconds.
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 127, 2016. May I have a motion?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 128, 2016. Scott, may I please have?
Yes, City Clerk.
Could you
Mayor,
turn your
Commissioners,
speaker on, please?
Mayor and Commissioners, the City Administrator and I have reviewed this resolution, and we feel it would be more appropriate to amend this with an additional paragraph. Just a little bit of background. There was an underground tank at our Public Works yard, which the lining had a leak. It didn't leak into the regular ground, but there are 2 tanks coverings, or I don't know what technical word you would call that, but to prevent leakage from contaminating nearby soil. We found that there was a leak through the first wall. That was determined to be an emergency under Resolution 128, 2016, for which we expended a sum of, I believe it was about $7,700 to remove that tank. Now we've determined that we still should have that old tank and all the connecting pipes, everything removed. We feel that this emergency still is in effect. So I'd like to see a second whereas. Well, and I have the wording here for Joanna. That whereas would read, an emergency was determined to exist for which a temporary replacement fuel tank has been utilized as authorized by Resolution number 68, 2016, which emergency still exists and for which proposals have been solicited to remove the potentially leaking existing underground tank system.
I sent him a text.
So we feel that we're going to spend another, if you take the low bid here from North Star, which is about $18,000, be another $18,200 and some dollars to remove all of it, the interior tank, because it could cause contamination. And as far as we know, the ground is not contaminated, but we don't want it to be contaminated. So we feel that this is a valid emergency. Okay?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, very good.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution 129, 2016.
I'll make
May I
the
have a
motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
130.
May I have a motion for resolution number 130, 2016?
Are we doing that?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Second motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We have an addition that has been recommended, Resolution 131, the jitney service for Down Beach to be extended to Labor Day. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor,
I thought we were going to, are we changing the times?
Yes.
So do we need to put that on the record?
Yes.
So the change in the times and the change in the day as well?
Absolutely. I will make that amendment to this Resolution 131, that the service of the jitneys will be from Thursday to Saturday evenings from the hours of 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., and there's a charge of $4, and that service will run through Labor Day weekend 2016. Inclusive.
I'll second that motion.
And just so you understand, also for Labor Day weekend, Commissioner, we did allow Sunday and Monday because it was a weekend, so.
Okay. Call
Mayor
roll.
Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Anything else, Johanna? Anything else? Is there anything else?
I believe that is all we've done.
Thank you, Johanna.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.